So, how are you all feeling? I'm feeling pretty good today. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, and that always puts me in a good mood. Now is a really great time to be noticing all these little reasons to be grateful. Research has shown that keeping a daily gratitude diary does improve one's mood. So Jane and I just wanted to give you a few new practical tips for well-being that you can try at home. Jane, do you want to kick us off with something we can do for our mind?
Thank you, Victoria. I wanted to chat with you today about how our eating habits can improve our mood and overall well-being. Once again, please be kind to yourself here. Don't beat yourself up if you stray a bit. It's about what you do most of the time that counts, not the occasional dip into bad habits. We are only human after all. You may have heard the ancient saying, "Let food be thy medicine," attributed to Hippocrates over 2,000 years ago. Well, current research studies conducted on patients with significant mental health symptoms have demonstrated how changes in their diet resulted in dramatic changes in their mood. Some even went into complete remission. A wonderful and powerful medicine indeed. So, based on this evidence and anecdotally from experience in my clinical practice of seeing thousands of patients, what would I encourage you to do? Okay, firstly, eat regularly throughout the day. This maintains a more stable blood sugar level. Big swings are bad news for your mood. Choose less processed high sugar foods and drinks. Try and eat more whole grain cereals, fresh fruit and veg, which we all know. If these are difficult to come by, currently, frozen fruit and veg are a really good alternative. Keep your diet varied and colourful. It's sometimes termed the rainbow diet. Try and steer away from everything looking beige. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. Try and include lots of oily fish in your diet, well, at least a couple of times a week if you can. For example, salmon, mackerel, tuna, can be in a can. It's the omega-3 we're talking about here. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you could get it from seeds and nuts. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Even mild dehydration can lead to sort of restlessness or irritable behaviour. Lastly, to enhance the effects of your food choices, eating at a table with others has been proven to elevate your feel-good hormones. And I'm hoping to touch upon this later in my connections section. Now, over to you, Victoria, to chat about the benefits of movement.
Yes, and before I get into movement, I also wanted to give you a wee exercise you can try for the mind, and it's called the 5-finger breathing exercise. So we hold our 5 fingers up like so, and then starting at the thumb, we breathe in as we trace up the thumb. And breathe out as we go down the other side. So in and out. And all the way around the fingers. That will probably take you less than a minute. So that's a great one to try first thing in the morning to set up your day nice and peacefully. And now I've got a movement exercise to add to the repertoire. So we've got the good old burpee, and I've got a low impact and a high impact version to show you. So, shall we start again with a nice deep breath in and a stretch? And then I'm going to show you the low impact version first. So just involves putting each leg out and then in again, stretch up, leg out, out, in, and up again. And then we can also do the high impact version of the burpee. So and that's that. Now, Jane, do you want to tell us your top tip for being connected this week?
That was wonderful, Victoria. Thank you. Right, for connectedness, I would like to stay on the theme of eating. As I mentioned earlier, there is so much scientific evidence about what we eat as being beneficial to our physical and mental health. However, there's also interesting research to prove how we eat has a major impact on our sense of well-being. You may have heard of the blue zones. These are areas across the world that have a much higher percentage of the longest living people. Now, something they all have in common is communal eating. And culturally, it is very important in all of these places that they sit at a table and enjoy their meals together. Now, I appreciate that if you're living on your own, that will be difficult, but I will give you some suggestions later on of how we might get around this. If, however, you are in a household with others, I would like to encourage you to try and enjoy meal times together. Maybe worth pushing the boat out a little bit further than you usually might do for a meal, and add some table decor, maybe house plants, cut flowers from the garden or roadside, and maybe even some candles in the evening. In Denmark, they call this hygge, which loosely translates as the quality of presence, experience of togetherness. They sort of say it's a sort of feeling of being warm, safe, comforted and sheltered. What I feel is the epitome of connection. Something we could all do with during these challenging times, I'd like to say. So for those of you living alone, this might be a bit more difficult to recreate. But maybe you could consider a virtual meal with a friend, or friends sharing the same menu and discussing what you particularly enjoy about it, maybe the next day or later that evening. This is even something you could try in a household with several people. Come up with a menu to try and share it with another household. Don't make it too complicated though. We've certainly made a much bigger emphasis on the togetherness of meal times in the past few weeks in my own household. It seems to be working pretty well, and I have teenage boys.
And how's the daily routine going? Hopefully you're managing to stick to some sort of routine. And are you focusing on just the things you can control, i.e. washing hands, physical distancing, daily exercise, and of course not consuming too much in the way of news and updates on social media? So that's all from me today, short and sweet again, I hope, and it's goodbye from me.
I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the impressive individual effort that people are making in the fight against COVID-19 transmissions. Some have even been pushed to the very limit. It is the collective of all this individual effort that has resulted in New Zealand currently being having one of the lowest death rates and transmission rates in the world for COVID. And for this you should feel immensely proud. So just to finish off, please continue to stay well, stay safe and stay connected. And I look forward to catching up with you very soon.